Hey Lancers, I'm Paige Rollins from the Office of Alumni and Career Services, and I'm here today with Jamie Clark, class of 2000 from Statewide Commercial. Hi, Jamie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So you're coming to us live from Norfolk, Virginia in a hotel room, I believe?
That is correct. I'm here on business for the previous night. I'm heading back pretty much after this interview. I have one more meeting here.
Oh, very cool. Well, thanks for making time for us today. So just to get started, how did you get started in your field of commercial real estate?
Well, it's interesting. I was actually a graphic design major at Longwood, and I went that route, and I had a couple positions over about a 6-year period, and I actually took on a position as marketing director for a real estate company in Richmond, a commercial real estate company in Richmond, and to be completely honest with you, it was a good time for the real estate market. And so I was looking at a lot of commissions crossing my desk, and I decided in 2006 that I would make a little career change and decided to go into the commercial real estate route. So it was really kind of following the money, to be completely honest with you. I enjoyed the graphic design advertising world, the branding. I was part of branding a couple Fortune 500 companies when I was with Martin Branding. So that was a great experience, but yeah, that's how I transitioned into the commercial real estate realm.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about Statewide Commercial?
Okay, so Statewide Commercial is my new company. We're just kicking this business off really about a month ago. We were planning on, I say we, I've got a couple of employees, a contractor as well as general contractor as well as a broker that's going to be starting next week. We were supposed to start the business in April. About a month ago, I got a phone call from one of my previous clients when I was with Colliers International. And due to that, we were forced to kind of expedite things. So we started the company about a month ago. It's going to be two things: corporate real estate representation. So companies like Fortune 1000 companies and companies that are headquartered in the state of Virginia, we represent them for their real estate needs. Most of those types of companies lease their facilities, so it's mostly tenant representation for large corporations. We're also going to have a couple of offices across the state of Virginia, hence the name Statewide Commercial, where we're going to represent smaller and medium-sized companies and businesses and handle more local needs. But the bread and butter, the sweet spot, what's going to make us successful is parlaying my experience when I was with Colliers International. I was the director of the office in Norfolk for the previous 3 years, using that experience and leveraging it with a local statewide brand. So we're very excited to kick this business off.
That's awesome. And that's a major accomplishment for you too. So what is it like to work in your line of business? Like, what is the environment like?
It's a challenging business. The companies that we compete against are global. They have offices all over, not just the United States, but in other countries as well. CB Richard Ellis, Jones Lang LaSalle, Colliers International, who I was working with previously, those are our primary competitors. So I would say that a challenge would be going up against these global players with this history and with an amazing resume. I think Statewide has a great resume. I have a pretty decent resume from my previous experience with Colliers, as well as the folks that are coming on board. So we're looking forward to competing against those guys. But yeah, the challenge would be we're going up against some serious competition.
It definitely sounds like you've got your work cut out for you. So what are some of the other challenges that you face? Like, what has been the hardest thing?
I would say another challenge would be just working with ownership. My previous position here in Norfolk, the ownership was out of Richmond, and just going back and forth from Richmond to Norfolk to make decisions. I wasn't a partner of the company, so one of the challenges was being the director of an office and not having, not necessarily full control, but more control. So that was a bit of a challenge. But again, it's pretty much the global competition is definitely the greatest challenge.
Very cool. So if someone wanted to get started in your field, what would you recommend?
I would recommend them to really think before they decide to enter this business, because it's not an easy business to break into. this business, and I'll tell you why. The main reason why this business is hard to break into, in my opinion, is it takes a while to ramp up business and to start earning. So you really have to get in early when you're younger. Like right out of college is a great time to get in this business, because typically you're not married with kids and other independents. And sure, I hear a lot of college loans that are being college students are struggling with coming out of school these days. Overall, you can afford to go off. When I entered the business, they said ramen noodles and mac and cheese. Get used to it. That's what you're going to live off of for the next 2 years. And they were, and actually, I would say that was more like 4 years, because we had a market crash in 2008. So I would say that I would just let them know it takes time to ramp up in this business. Back in the olden days, in the 90s and early 2000s, companies, these large global companies that I've worked for in the past, they offered salaries and a draw, which means you pay it back, when you earn commissions. So it helps bridge that gap, but it takes a while. An average deal, especially a corporate deal, is anywhere from 6 months to a year to complete. And then once you complete that deal, you've got to invoice, and then you got to wait for that check to arrive. So anyway, it takes a while to ramp up. That's one thing I would suggest you really consider before entering the business.
That's awesome. And we can go ahead. Do you mind if we share your website and you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, this is the homepage, Statewide Commercial. I was a part of a branding team in Richmond for 3 years, and we rebranded Markel Corporation, Davenport and Company, several excellent large companies, as well as colleges and nonprofits. So I have a decent branding background. So I was able to take time over the last 4 or 5 months, 5 months now, I believe, really building a brand, not just opening a commercial real estate business, but building a brand. So I understand imagery, I understand impact, I understand text. So this website here was generated to convey the message, and the message that Statewide really wants to get out to the public and private sector is we are statewide. We cover the state of Virginia. We offer multi-market corporate representation as well as statewide representation. If you scroll down a little bit more, you see Vibran. That's a networking group that I started in 2009 in Richmond. Just another thing I'll tell you guys, especially the younger Longwood folks in school or new alums, definitely get involved in networking if you're in sales, and find the right networking group. And if you can't find one, start one yourself, build it yourself. That's what I did. I was so frustrated with several networking groups that, people showing up late, not showing up at all, emailing later, not treating everyone with respect. Myself and 2 other guys, we started what's called Virginia Business and Real Estate Network in 2009. And today it's up to 4 chapters. We actually have a group in Richmond that meet once a month, Hampton Roads once a month. Charlottesville's brand new. I just moved there a couple months ago, so we just kicked that off, and we're just kicking off a Harrisonburg, Virginia Business and Real Estate Network. So again, this website, we're trying to sell the fact that we offer resources for our clients. And if you scroll down, as well as commercial real estate representation. Construction is another thing, or another avenue that we can offer our clients and prospects out there. Is we can handle tenant improvements. We can handle anything from that to a build-to-suit. So again, the brand here, if you want to go back to the home page, you've got these gears in the logo. If you look closely when you get there, you can see it there, the top left, that steel logo. And you can see the state of Virginia is cut out. But those gears, they represent partnership, collaboration, innovation, and freedom. All those linked together form Statewide Commercial, which is a good product to manage real estate for clients. But again, partnership is shaking hands with the client, agreeing to work together. Collaboration, they feed us their information, lease terms, rates, building specs. We take it, we use innovation, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to ramble here, but we're going to have what's called the Vault. It's an quite expensive web application that the company is building, and that's going to house information, lease information, confidential financial information for clients, and we're going to use it to communicate back and forth with our clients. So that's innovation. And then freedom, the fourth wheel there, it has to do with the freedom the client receives when they work with Statewide Commercial. So anyway, that's enough, I believe, for the website here.
Very cool. That's awesome. So I also understand that you're writing a book. Can you tell us how and kind of why it started?
Okay, this is interesting. I'm glad you asked. The book is called Jones's Creek. And why I'm writing a book, because let me tell you, I'm not a writer, but I've become a writer. If you work on anything for 5 years, you become maybe not an expert at it, but you get pretty good at it, or you at least have an understanding. But I've written a book called Jones's Creek. I'm on the 4th revision, hopefully going to wrap it up in the next year. Hopefully some old friends from Longwood will see this and remember Jersey. Jersey was a bulldog that I had. He was kind of the women's basketball team mascot in '99 and 2000 at Longwood. Little Jersey used to come to all a lot of practices, morning practices, and anyway, Jersey was a big part of my life at Longwood, and he passed away soon after leaving Longwood. He was 2. I ended up getting another dog, and I named him Jones, and had that boy for 10 years. And I mean, he was my everything. For the first 5 years of my life with Jones was my final years as a single guy, running around the scenes, the bars in Richmond as a young professional. And then I settled down with my now wife, and for the last 5 years of Jones's life with her. And he ended up getting cancer, and we fought. We did treatments, and I mean, prayer. I fasted. I mean, I got spiritual during that time period, let me tell you. So the book was a byproduct of what I went through with Jones, and I don't want to tell you the ending because it is. I think it's interesting. It is a roller coaster ride. It starts out in college, and you're right there. If you're a Longwood alum, you may remember a few places that I reference at the beginning of the book. It's 8 parts, and the whole first section is while I was wrapping up my time at Longwood. So Longwood is going to be a part of that book, and then you follow basically my life and my experiences with Jones, and how amazing, the most amazing animal or really being that I've ever known. My wife knew it was a competition between her and Jones when we were dating. So the book's about Jones and what we went through, and I'm very excited and confident in this. And I want Longwood people to support it one day, hopefully.
That's awesome. So what are some of the things that you've learned through this process, not being a writer and writing a book?
It was therapy. It was therapy. I didn't know I was writing a book. It was 6 months later after he passed that I realized I had so much content, I had to do something with it. I was writing just stories about the two of us and going down to the dog park, or taking him to the river and throwing sticks in the river. I was just pouring everything out. I didn't want to forget him. And it was 6 months later, I said, my goodness, I'm going to turn this into a book. And how do you do that? So I started looking over other books and other similar type books that I thought the direction this could go, and just came up with ideas and concepts. And I'm a fairly creative person. I was a graphic design major, and I was in advertising. I know I'm in a boring industry that's real estate now, but I adjusted, and I learned on the fly, and it was natural. So what did I learn, I think was the question. I learned a lot about myself.
Absolutely. So as for your time at Longwood, what do you miss most, and kind of how did it impact your career?
I thought about this question, and in the book, I state food, friends, and fun, the 3 Fs. Later in life, it becomes what is it? Family, faith, and food. Food's still in my life. But yeah, I miss I had so much fun at Longwood. It was really a turning point in my life. I would consider myself a late bloomer if anyone knows me from Martinsville, which is my hometown. I've definitely come a long way, and Longwood had a lot to do with that. The socializing, the extracurricular activities, the education, everything, the whole package at Longwood was perfect for me. And what do I miss about it? I miss everything about it. I mean, let me tell you, I'm at the happiest point in my life. Someone asked me that today, and I'm as happy today as ever. I love my wife, and I love my new daughter. I have a 2-year-old. And but outside of this period, I'd go back. If I had to go back in time, it would be that period at Longwood. It was an absolute blast.
That's awesome. So you mentioned your family is really important to you. So what's kind of a day in the life of Jamie?
Oh gosh, a day well, right now it's work all day, every day. I wake up and I immediately start working on statewide commercial. Outside of taking care of family time with my daughter and wife, outside of that, I'm working until it's time to veg out at night. But soon enough, I'm thinking about a month, we'll have the brand and everything finalized. We've got print materials at Worth Higgins in Richmond. We've got marketing materials that are being developed right now. So anyway, once we get past that, life will get back to normal. I live in Charlottesville now. I was in Norfolk for the last 2 years, so we live in Charlottesville and we love it. Beautiful mountains, closer to Longwood, maybe an opportunity to come back and visit sometime.
That's awesome. And so for my last question for you, if a Lancer was to follow in your footsteps, whether that's doing commercial real estate or writing a book, what one piece of advice would you give them?
One thing that I've learned, again, I'm a late bloomer, and I think I'm hitting my stride a little bit later in life than some people at 40 now, starting this new business, finishing up a book. I would suggest follow the path in front of you and look for alternative roads, alternative paths. If something is out there that looks attractive, explore it. That's what I've done. Again, I was in Richmond in a position where the growth in the office was limited. And so I saw an opportunity to open that company in another market. That was a path that I created on my own. I saw it and I went after it. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in a position now where I'm starting my own real estate company, to be quite honest with you. So I would recommend whatever degree you end up with or study, I don't know what the statistic is on this, but most likely you're going to go in different directions in life, and don't be afraid.
That's awesome. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.